Hi third graders, welcome to your language lesson. Please be sure you're on page 133 in your language books. Page 133, as you can see I have my iPad here with the lesson. So we're on page 133, we're going to continue learning about pronouns. Remember, and I'm looking at page 133, a pronoun is a word that takes place of a noun. A pronoun is a word that takes place of a noun. Yesterday we looked at subjective pronouns. Those are I, you, she, he, it, we, they, and they go at the beginning of a sentence because they do the action. And then we also looked at predicate pronouns, which go after the verb. So the predicate pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, them. And if you need to see it, it's up here in your book, okay? So you don't have to always just look at the screen, it's also in your book as well. Now, let's do think A. Draw a line between the subject and predicate parts of the sentence. So of course we're going to look for the verb first because it's the most important part of the sentence. We always ask ourselves, what is happening? Okay. And then number two, actually, we underline the verb twice and the subject once. And we'll circle any pronouns. Okay. Actually, we'll circle the correct pronoun. Then we have to ask ourselves, is the pronoun subjective, meaning it's at the beginning and it does the action, or is it predicate, meaning it comes after the verb? So we're going to do this together. We'll do the first two, and then at our meeting we'll do 3, 4, and 5. Unless you want to try it on your own, which it's pretty cool too. Helps you with your critical thinking skills. Okay, the first one says, Mrs. Warren invited they or them to our class. So first of all, I'm going to ask myself, what is happening? What's going on in the sentence? What's the action? What is Mrs. Warren doing? She invited, right? So I'm going to underline invited twice. Who invited again? You're right, Mrs. Warren. One time, and I'll draw my line to separate the subject and the predicate. Now I have to decide which pronoun to use. Mrs. Warren invited they to our class. No. Mrs. Warren invited them to our class. Makes more sense. So I'm going to circle them. Then I'm going to ask myself, is them the word? Does it come after or before the verb? So here's the verb, invited, and them is right behind it. So it comes after the verb. If it comes after the verb, it's a predicate pronoun, meaning it comes in the predicate part. Predicate, P for predicate. Number 2. The neighbors brought us or brought we some warm pumpkin bread. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask myself, what is happening? What's going on in this sentence? Well, the neighbors brought. Okay, that's the action. I can picture in my head. That's a good thing that readers do. They try to imagine what's going on in their heads. So brought is the verb. Who brought? Neighbors, right? And then I'll just separate it right there. Now we circle the pronoun. So the neighbors brought we some warm bread, or the neighbors brought us some warm pumpkin bread. You heard it correctly, especially when I read it out loud. That's why it's important to practice your read aloud skills. So it's us. Now again, I ask myself, does the pronoun us come after the verb or before the verb? Well, the verb here is brought. So us is coming like right after, it's behind it. So it's definitely after, it's predicate. It's a predicate pronoun, okay? If you want to try 3, 4, and 5 on your own, that's cool. Even if you try part of it, like if you at least underline the verbs and the subject and you circle the correct pronoun, that's a good start. And if you just want to wait till our meeting to fill this part in, that's cool too. But if you give it a shot, take that risk and do it on your own, you're on your way to some growth there. All right, think B. We're going to do just number 1 because there's 3 of them. So we just have to choose the correct pronoun to use in the sentence. Here, I'm going to add another step. I'm going to have you underline the verb twice, just the verb, so that you know which pronoun to use. Okay, so let me explain. Please hand that cup to I, or please hand that cup to me. So what do they want you to do here? They want you to hand, right? Here's a cup. hand it to me, okay? Now, the correct pronoun to use is me because, oh, I guess they want you to write it in the blank, huh? Because me is a predicate pronoun. It comes after the verb. And notice here, it came right after the verb of hand. That's why you say, please hand that cup to me, not please hand that cup to I. It doesn't make sense. All right, think C. Circle each pronoun. Underline the noun in the sentence that the pronoun takes place of. Draw an arrow from each pronoun to the noun it stands for. All right, I'll explain. We'll do the first two, and then we'll do 3, 4, and 5 at our Zoom meeting once again. Maya is going to Kansas next week. She will be gone for 3 days. So I know you can't see the pronouns chart on screen because I just zoomed in on the bottom, but again, the pronouns are I, you, and you can see it in your book. You've got it. I, you, she, he, it, we, they. Okay. Me, you, him, him, her, it, us, them. Okay, I'll just use these. So, Maya is going to Kansas next week. She will be gone for 3 days. Do you see the pronoun there? That in those two sentences for number 1? I see it. It is the word she. Now, who is she talking about? Who is she referring to? It's referring to Maya. So I'm going to take the word she, draw an arrow from she to Maya. Boom. And just underline Maya just to show that's the antecedent. That's the noun that she is talking about. Okay, number 2. Everett said that he forgot to bring lunch today. Everett said that he forgot to bring a lunch today. Okay, I see another pronoun, and again, you can use this to help you find the pronoun. Do you see it? He. So I'm going to circle he. Who is he talking about? Everett, right? There you go. Okay, now, if you want to do some level 4 thinking on your own, remember we have this order of higher level thinking, you can try 3, 4, and 5 on your own, especially since I've done the first 2 for you or with you. And like I said before, doing things on your own after getting some guidance will help you with your growth. So the main objective here was to recognize subjective and predicate pronouns. I always had a hard time with that. All right. And analyzing, breaking down the sentences to look for those. We'll do the rest at our Zoom meeting, but I do appreciate you listening and following along in your book. All right. So by the time you reach me, it's either all filled out or partly filled out, just like here. Thank you very much, 3rd graders. I look forward to seeing you.